Done. Recording started.
Okay, recording started. Now you're not connected to the projector volume, but you're loud enough.
Okay, cool.
All right, so when you're ready, dude.
All right. Let's get cracking, team.
Yep. Yeah. Cool, we're good.
We're good. All right, so ideally if you could, if I can see all of you guys, that'd be good. But I've called this presentation.
Can you see us? Can you still see us?
I can see you and Dean.
Okay, so what I'll do is
just put it back on the step or something.
Yep. Just gonna change it that way. Okay, point it down more, or is that okay?
No, that's fine. That's good.
Okay, cool. Adam's good.
All right, so I've called this presentation "Opinions Won't Keep You Warm at Night." One thing that I hope to get out of this presentation is maybe particularly for the younger team is that you guys are comfortable in stating your opinions, having thought-provoking conversations with colleagues or clients, and that knowing that your opinion is valued. The more that I think, the better that we can get at sharing our opinions, having hard conversations, as I said, with clients and or colleagues, will make the MK movement business a lot better. So today, this is going to require you guys to, I just want you to think of the first thing that comes to your head during each of these slides. Okay? Yep. So I've just put a couple of random like EPS and C topics in there. But the idea is for us to create an environment where this is comfortable and that you guys can state your opinion. Even you may have different opinions to each other. That's fine. I don't care if you have different opinions, but as long as you respect each other, that's all that I really care about. So today is just about having an open conversation and practice just sharing your opinions, okay? All right, is this going to work? All right, the first one. Both percentage-based loads and RPE should be used for programming. Not one is best. Okay? Chella, what are your thoughts on this?
Both percentage should be used for programming, not one is best.
Sorry, Chella, can you speak up? I can't hear.
I was actually reading it out loud. My opinion on this is that you can set intensities a number of different ways, and there isn't one that's better, but there are some that are better depending on what client you're working with.
Beautiful. Dino.
Like, particularly given some of the clients that I deal with, more like a neurological or cardiorespiratory issue, like I'm not going to prescribe based off like a load because this is not applicable.
Yep.
More of like an RP or like a rep and reserve is probably going to be more accurate versus like a percentage-based load because usually their condition is going to be impacting their ability to perform at a higher load volume because it's probably either not safe or not justifiable. So that's where I'd probably look at that as a different option for the client in that sense.
Yep. Matty?
I like both. My preference these days is to prescribe RPE or rep and reserve just for the fluctuation of how clients present, and the percentage base can be really good depending on the type of clientele for that rigidity. So I definitely don't think one is better than the other, but I am a bit more of a lover of RPE these days.
Yep, I'm the same. I think both can be used. I predominantly would use an RPE-based approach over percentage of loads, just because unless you do like a 1RM with someone, you never really have the option of using a percentage. So I think RPE is a little bit better. But in saying that though, like I think if you work with a client long enough and Say, for example, I may know that one client of mine works or is strong if he's doing 115 for 5 at his trap bar. So that may mean that his percentage of his 1RM, it could be something like 130 or something like that. So I may use it in that instance, but I 100% agree that both of them can be used. It just depends on which one. Like Chelly, you said, depending on the clientele, if they're particularly analytical and love numbers, you may say, right, you're going to work at 85% of your 1RM today. But I think for the majority of people that we see, we're not going to have percentage-based understandings of what their loads are, and an RPE base for these people is better. Agree? Disagree? You think I'm talking shit?
Agree.
No, I think all right.
All right. Clients should train hard all year round, not just when they have something coming up. Yeah, buddy.
All year round, mate.
All year round. Fucking oath.
Don't get outcomes without consistency.
Agree.
Yeah. Hang on, are we discussing this?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm gonna disagree.
Oh.
Okay, here we go. But this is mad. Tell me why.
Good. I'm purposely I'm just stirring.
No,
up.
it doesn't matter.
I've got a client, Aaron Burke. Okay. Where his goals are very based around developing his physique more than anything right now. That's just one of his goals, right? He wants to lose some fat, then become a little bit more jacked. Okay. I believe during certain parts of his dietary phases where he's going to be consuming lower energy, so lower amounts of calories. He's still going to, I suppose, train hard, but I'm going to be giving him minimal effective dose, meaning that his RPE for the session for the next 12 weeks of being in a calorie deficit is going to be less or lower than during a mid-phase hypertrophy period where his volume's super high, his DOMs are super high. So he already knows that for this 12-week period, his training intensity is going to be low, sessions are going to be quicker, there's going to be less volume. And then when we get into that 16-week hypertrophy phase, he's going to be fucking working hard.
Okay. So I 100% agree. I think that's particularly for clients who are in calorie deficit. I think it's quite tough for them to maintain training outputs. But what you have done as part of his program is put him in a calorie deficit, right? So that could be the part that is harder than other parts, not just his training, right? So by putting him in a calorie deficit, you have made his training harder because he's got less substrate availability to use, regardless of the intensity, right?
Yep.
So a 6 out of 10 fully fueled is going to feel different at a 6 out of 10 than when he's half fueled, for example.
Yep.
So you have done something with his program from whether it's a body composition point of view or an RPE point of view or whatever, but you have changed something about his program that is going to make his training harder, right? So by putting him into a calorie deficit and still getting him to go to the gym, whether it's all you've done is try to mitigate how much volume and load he accrues during this low phase. But I would still argue that putting him in a calorie deficit is going to make his training harder, regardless of the intensity that you give him.
Yep.
Well, yes, you've tried from a program point of view to do that. He will still find 6 out of 10 could be still quite hard because of the fact he's got less fuel in his system to use.
Yep.
But good. I like that. I think that's great.
Model and then the rephrasing, that was
Let's play devil's advocate today.
I liked it, but also I perceived train hard as just I just perceived the question in a very tunnel vision way of the actual exercise itself. But we forget that there's so many things that play a factor in our training outside of the actual.
Beautiful. So this comes back to this point here. That's why I think RPEs are better, because RPE takes into account people's stress, people's sleep, people's environment, other contextual factors around gym that the that the percentage-based loads do not. The
But
percentage.
I've got a rebuttal.
Good. Let's go.
Now, Dean's getting involved. Now, Logan.
Wait, is this on this one or is this on this one?
Back. But Logan, NDIS, ASD, has no sense of understanding RPE, reps and reserve. I'm purely using my coach's eyes and experience to determine that. So, again, not like I agreed, not always RPE for some clients, because even if he had a stressful day at school, he didn't sleep, he's not going to accurately report to me what his true RPE was for that exercise. Whereas possibly percentage-based could work better in that situation, maybe.
100%. But I would say that when Logan does an exercise, are you telling him, was that easy or is that hard?
No, I'm actually not using RPE for him.
No. But say, for example, right, you may not be using the RPE method.
Yeah.
But you'll be asking Logan, hey, Logs, was this exercise easy or did you find it really hard?
Yeah.
Right? So that is a RPE-based approach.
It is. Sometimes he'll say, oh, his legs will be quivering, and he'll be like, that's easy.
Well, then jack it up, mate.
The coach's eyes tell me that he's got one in the tank.
Okay. Good. So, but this is again, I think you can use both.
That's what, yeah.
But, yeah. But, all right, Dino. Wait, Chella, you said yes. A very convincing yes. I like it. Dino, clients should train hard all year round, not when they have something coming up.
I know you know, for sure.
Tell me why.
So I've got a client who's in footy pre-season at the moment. When it comes to in-season, there's obviously going to be more factors to contribute to why I can't push him hard in season, such as obviously recovery between matches, injury, fatigue, training volume in a week, and recovery is obviously the big thing. So from match to match, he's not going to be able to do the same weights that he's doing pre-season versus in-season. It's just going to be more of a strength maintenance versus then changing to more conditioning or whatever we can sort of get him to do minimal effective to keep him maintaining what he's doing strength-wise.
Okay.
But
Challa's got the
Oh,
rebuttal.
here we go, Chels.
training hard with Dean in the gym, is his overall training intensity still high when you factor in, everything that he's doing with his sport as well?
So,
Different
Because, but it's still training.
It's not training.
But we've discussed that we're
We
not
talked about-
talking about gym training, are we?
Oh yeah,
But he's still training hard all year round.
he's training the context, but he's not.
But
training.
he's training
It's a different training.
But we're just training is talking about everything. So what is
You're breaking down.
Adam, is when you say train, do you talk about everything that they're doing throughout the
so
week?
if they're an AFL player, they're like, something about their training is hard. So they could be in season, so you might not be doing much.
Sorry, I meant with the question, should someone train all year round? Is that just specific with when they're with us, or is that just the context of all the training they're doing in that each
It
week?
could be either. Let's just go both.
Yeah, but then you're breaking down the components of it versus the whole amount.
Exactly.
They're
but-
still training hard, but
so he is training
con-
hard all year,
he
but
is.
he's not training as hard when he's with
The
you. But
context of
overall, he's still training hard
Yeah.
all year round.
I know he's still hard because he's not training my version. He's not doing his strength and conditioning block for footy.
But he's still training
He's
hard
still
all
training
year
hard,
round.
but it's different because it's
So he's
it's
still,
sports
so he is training hard all year round.
again.
I love this. This is mad.
Yeah.
But Chella, I agree, and Dino, I also agree with you. I'm going to sit on the fence. I would say there could be something about his program that could be hard. So say, for example, if he's like generally in an AFL preseason, that's when they do their high bulk of their running, right? So you may say as the coach or as the S&C coach, we're not going to do a lot of aerobic stressful work in the gym. We're going to do more your strength-based stuff, right? So he's getting his aerobic conditioning outside, you're doing a lot of the strength stuff. You can still keep that at a high enough intensity where he is training hard. Now, remember that hard is different for everyone, right? But in season, you may be doing cluster sets to minimize fatigue, but those cluster sets can still be challenging. They can still be hard, right? As again, there's many ways to skin a cat, but again, my philosophy, and this is mine, it's not yours, is that all of my clients, I want to get to a stage where they are training hard, and whatever hard is for them is what it is. But if I can get them to train hard for longer periods of time, more consistently, I can guarantee you that they are going to get more bang for their buck. Right? That's just my philosophy. Okay, and something that I try and do with everyone. Right? So whether that's doing 2 sets instead of 3 sets because out of the third set they sandbag it. Right? Giving 5 reps instead of 8 reps, right? So again, training hard can mean a lot of things, but training hard doesn't always have to having to do what Ronnie Coleman's doing and deadlifting
Lightweight
300 pounds, right? Or whatever he's deadlifting. It's 300 pounds is probably an understatement, but there's a heap of things that you can do. All right, I'll move on. But this is good. Well done, guys. The 2-to-1 pull push ratio is made up. It's a fugazi. It's not real. Doesn't exist. I agree with this. I think the 2-to-1 pull push ratio is stupid.
I think again, it's contextual. Like, it depends on what the client's training for. Like, if it's specific for like a sport element, then it's obviously if they need to be able to push something a lot more than they're pulling something, then realistically you'd be training more push versus pull.
Yeah, but in saying that though, you may give clients like, why do you have to this pull thing? Why do you have to give 2 exercises for pull versus 1 push? If they need to get better at pushing, why don't you just give all of them pushing?
Like, that's probably the thing I'd say as well. I'd agree with that, but like, particularly for what I've come across with a lot of clients that have shoulder issues, upper back, thoracic issues, they don't need to be pushing more because they're already in that posture. So they're already in that posture. So we're obviously trying to still have some aspect because we still want to build strength in that area, but at the same time, we don't want to be doing over it more.
Yeah, but that ratio still doesn't have to be 2-to-1.
It wouldn't be 2-to-1 still. You can do 1-to-1, you can do 2-to-2. It doesn't make
3-to-1, whatever.
It's still
But
gonna
this
be,
whole thing of 2-to-1 is
I'm not,
silly, I think.
yeah, I'm
Matt.
not convinced on the pushing makes your posture a certain way yet either.
Not
I don't think either.
someone's already got aggravated anterior shoulder pain and getting somebody on bench press. What's the point?
So in that instance, pushing may aggravate symptoms.
But does pulling automatically pull them into a posture?
not necessarily, but more often than not, it's posture-wise in terms of opening up because the anterior joint space. A pull's going to get someone into an anterior joint space opening up where the compression is versus the push. Because that's how the shoulder mechanic works. It's more often than not structurally wise forward versus back.
I don't think the ratio is made up. It's a thing. It's a trend that was going on 5-10 years ago. Now the new one is it's the push, pull, and reach. Is that right? Is that
So that's the next thing I was going to bring up is the 2-to-1 thing, could that be right? Or could we have like a pull to reach, which is different from push? So reaching is sending the scaps as far forward as they can.
Yeah, and it's
Right.
different. Like it's different shoulder position, more things are moving versus a fixed.
Exactly.
shoulder. So everything's moving with it versus just staying locked and you're just pushing.
Yeah. Charles, what do you think?
To be honest, I've actually never heard of this ratio thing before. So I don't know how much I can speak on it. However, just
Have you never heard of the 2-to-1 pull push ratio before?
people should do more back than chest because, like, if you do more back, it's going to get you sitting up straight and your shoulder blade will be nice. And if you do too much pushing, it's going to make you a lot like this.
No, I've
Never
actually
heard that?
never heard that.
Well,
But
that's the thing.
on face value, just reading that, will just like anything, right? It's things are always going to be subjective. So whilst that particular ratio might be effective in some people, yes, it's not going to be effective for absolutely everyone. So I don't know. I mean, if your back muscles are strong, then you would presume that you're going to hold better posture. Just like if you've got someone with kyphosis, you're going to prescribe stuff that's going to strengthen their back muscles. But I don't think that if you do a lot of push stuff, you're necessarily going to put yourself into a kyphotic posture. I think posture stems from more of your day-to-day activities, not that 1 hour that you spend at the gym each
Yeah,
day.
I actually don't think posture causes. I don't think postures cause problems.
Well, you're right, because some people have abnormal posture and have no issues. I had a friend with scoliosis that I only found out when she was like 23, never had any back issues. Was her posture great? No, it was terrible because she had scoliosis, but didn't affect her.
I think
Boxers, for
yeah.
example, right, their shoulders naturally sit inwards. Doesn't really impede on them anyway, but it now allows them to have a nice long swing. Posture is,
Depends on,
you don't need to have a perfect posture.
depends on the medical advice you're given. Like when I injured my back, I was told, got to stand up straight, you're going to be rigid through your abs, you're going to be this, you're going to be that. As a result, now my thoracic spine is actually too straight. So I lost my kyphotic curve.
What? You altered biomechanics?
No, because of the amount of like tension, because of how much
fear mongering they
how
give
much
you.
like tension I was under for so long of doing that, it just ended up like started losing gradually my thoracic curve. I was already going to lose it anyway because of medical stuff, but
Right.
it's symptomatic to set it off more.
But I think people will assume a certain posture. Yes, we can address some technical stuff, but I don't think one posture is better than another. What I think is some people tolerate some postures better than others do.
It's probably you're gonna get maybe one every 20 clients. They come in. Oh, my son's got this posture with his school bag, and you got to fix his posture. Like it's a really interesting one because they want in a lot of our minds. If you ask your parents, what's good posture, it's exactly what the advice given to Dean.
Yeah,
Sit
it's
up
being a dowel. It's being completely upright. But we know the skeleton's not like that at all.
That's right. So
The skeleton, because of gravity, has got curves, right? Your thoracic is more kyphotic, your lumbar is more lordotic, and then it just folds down. Why? So we can best manage gravity. If we were one big upright stick, we'd fall over.
but I want my son.
And our rib cage wouldn't move.
I want my axial skeleton to be vertical, like a ladder.
Do you?
That's what the textbook says.
Well, textbook can get stuffed. All right. That's good. Maybe I should put the posture one in here instead. Understanding breathing mechanics will help you understand movement better. I 100% agree.
No.
Chella, talk to me about it. We did a presentation on this, so that more reflects on me.
I actually can't even think of a reason. We're just trying to stir the
No,
pot.
I said to Chella to say no to you to see.
Oh,
what
okay. No, but Chella, now that you've played devil's advocate, I want you to tell me why you don't think, because again, you could absolutely come up with a reason as to why understanding movement.
Jesus.
I can. This is it, Chella. You're under the mic. You're under the pump now. I can just see Dean try to get his thoracic curve back. So
trying to get my lumbar scoliosis out.
Well, maybe some people can't necessarily make that linkage between breathing and their movement, and maybe some people perceive,
Is it
understand,
overcomplicating?
yeah, maybe overcomplicating, or everyone's got different learning styles potentially, so maybe it feeds into that. Maybe people need more physical examples in order to understand movement. And breathing might complicate things. Yeah, I don't know. I think breathing has definitely helped. Understanding how your breathing definitely has helped me understand movement better. And it's changed the way I sort of correct people with their techniques. So,
I think it's understanding it is helpful for the clinician. Maybe the client doesn't need to know as much as we do.
No. While you're correcting someone's form, they may say, like, why are you asking me to do this? You may then go into it. But if you're telling a client, hey, let your arms go long, tuck your pelvis in, they're just going to try and do what you tell them. Whereas they're not really asking, why are you asking me to tuck my pelvis in? You're just giving them a cue to either make the movement that they're doing more compact, more achievable, whatever.
I mean,
But
Yeah.
yeah,
I still don't understand it to the level I want to, but it's helped me. Yeah, it's helped me kickstart some of my prescriptions. So I need to probably continue learning more about
that's good. And remember, like, the breathing lens is a lens. You could look at movement from like a muscle point of view, where muscles pull on bones to create movement, or you could look at it the other way, being like bones act, muscles react, which is the thing that Jamie Smith talks about in his thing, being like the position that gravity puts me in, my muscles would just contract and relax. All right. So there are different ways of looking at movement. Do I think breathing mechanics will help you understand biases and stuff, or the way that certain joints like bias a position? Yes. Do I think it's the only lens you can look it through? No. There's other ones, but I think it helps. Dino?
In terms of like, particularly for like a couple of like chronic pain clients that I've had that particularly have like back issues, like the breathing side of it has actually indirectly it's helped them. More so, essentially working on stacking themselves a bit better so they're quite stable and they feel quite stable doing, like particularly when they're trying to do stuff like rack pulls or RDLs or back extension or squats, anything that's loading through their spine where they're just tentative to sort of move. That sort of help with them, educating them a bit on how breathing when you're doing those more challenging movements can obviously assist with stabilizing like your trunk, sort of getting the stack a bit better.
Okay, well, even that's really good, Dano. But take moving out of it, Chella, what did we discuss on Monday with that client, the work cover one, who was just getting annoyed with all of his case manager stuff?
We discussed, I was actually just doing it as you I was like breathing for 4, hold for 4.
Yeah.
Just off breathing. So how breathing can allow a person to basically relax.
Yeah. And do you then give a shit about understanding movement better if your client says, you know what, I'm more relaxed? I don't feel as wound up or as tight or as stressed or whatever. I think you wouldn't care.
Sorry, I kind of missed that. What was that?
So, like, in the point of like your question about, you know, helping a client de-stress, chill out, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
In that context, does breathing help you understand movement better? I would think not.
Doesn't allow you to understand movement better, but in some cases can help you move better. So separate.
Bingo. Correct.
Yeah.
That's really good, Charles. Cool. All right.
Got about 5 minutes ads.
All right, coach. We'll try and run through this quick, but coaches who sell injury prevention programs are taking the piss.
Yes.
I 100% agree with this.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because I guess I mean, yes and no. I think there's a time and place for injury prevention. If you're a runner, for example, there's potentially certain exercises that you can do that might minimize the risk. But just because you do that program doesn't mean that there's no chance you can get injured.
Yes. So, Chella, you said minimize the risk. Prevention is it will not happen at all.
Yeah, it's the key word is prevention. That's
Keyword's prevention.
How they lure you in. But obviously, you know, if you were to bet your house with a client that if you do my program, you're not going to get injured, I guarantee you there's a good chance they'll be.
Yeah. If someone does my program and sits on the couch for the rest of the day, then potentially I can reduce injuries or prevent them. Sorry. But sport, life are both things that cause injury. So for you to say that you are selling an injury prevention program where you will not get injured if you do this, I think is a load of shit.
Yeah.
Mitigation.
Mitigation's the word, reduction, whatever it might be. Right? That's what I think. Most clients do not need a deload. Life will deload them
Ooh, this
on their
is a
own.
fun one. I like this one. I want to hear Dean's thoughts.
Dino, hit me.
Most clients need a deload.
I'd say no, but there's clients that I've found that it's been applicable for. So Joe Russo is probably the perfect example of that. If we've pushed him too hard for too long, his body, because of just being in chronic pain state permanently, as well as has a tendency to then get into his own head of he's just going too heavy, and then everything just breaks down and he has a setback, and it's 2 or 3 weeks of just building it back up again. We sort of plan into him like we do a block of this, whatever we can tolerate, this as far as we tolerate, and then we just have a week where we just halve his workload just to give his body just recovery from sort of the stress that it is under, because it's constantly in stress. That's just something that we're sort of accustomed with, and he's responded quite well. Like he's been able to train harder for longer and tolerate more with those 1 to 2 weeks of deload added into it.
Okay. So do you think that you, with the programming stuff where you said you've done too much and then he's kind of fallen on the other end, do you think that there are some programming things that you could have done to maybe apply some fatigue management strategies so that he may not have to have a deload week every 6 weeks?
Yes and no. It's kind of one of those tricky things with someone like him, because he's in that state permanently, that it's sort of, he could do something at home randomly and it could set it off where everything's flared up, he stiffens right up, we just can't do anything. Even if he's going and seeing the osteo to try and meet or massage therapist to try and get some relief and reduction of some of that restriction he has, it hasn't made a difference. So it's just been kind of one of those things that we've had to sort of factor into what we've done with him, and it's progressed quite well. And I think that's where we're sort of at the moment, where the programming side of it, because we factor that into it now, where we not necessarily every 6 weeks, it's probably every 10 to 12 weeks, where we've probably had like a deload of his load total, where he's responded usually pretty well in comparison. So we've had like a week where we've just sort of halved what he's been doing, still doing same exercises, just different load, different intensity. So he's been able to tolerate it pretty well.
Matty?
I agree with the part where it says most don't. Like obviously, probably more from an S&C point of view. Olympics coming up, 3-4 weeks.
Have you qualified?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Pasta eating.
Handstand comp.
Handstands. Calisthenics. But typically you will see a deload with those professional athletes leading into a couple of days prior. You're not going to see a 100-meter sprinter doing high volume stuff 2 days out. They're still going to, the intensity will be high, but it'll be a deload of some sort.
Yes.
But for most general pop, I agree with life. Like there'll be some yellow flags that come up, such as they're missing their sets, they're missing their reps scheduled, or RPE is randomly a lot higher than typical weeks. Indication to me that before I keep pushing them each week, I will introduce that fatigue management of introducing a rep or set scheme or strategy to ensure that they don't crash.
Mhm.
But I probably used to use a lot more deloads for no real reason, really. Like I had some clients at, week 6 where, because it was just ingrained that, it's a pyramid style.
Yeah. Traditional periodization
We're at week
is
6, so we better give you one,
that.
2 sets of 10, and the client's still feeling fresh. Stress is low, life's
Yeah.
good. They've just
Sorry, yeah.
out on a good week of possible training.
Yeah, I think linear periodization is a good example where you do 3 hard weeks and then you need a deload week at the 4th. If they feel good, keep going.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to hear Chala's response.
Chala.
We'll call it there.
Deload isn't something that I've ever probably applied with a client, to tell you the truth, but I think there definitely serves a place in shooting contests. When I was a roller, up for our big, we had like head of schoolgirls, which was the biggest competition of the year. And we would start tapering 2 weeks before. So obviously we don't want to be entering our biggest competition of the year fatigued. So I think from that perspective, yeah, with any sort of sport, when you're approaching any kind of big competition, as you said, Olympics, you do need to reduce the volume. In terms of our clients themselves, I think it's just probably something maybe you just need to apply when it's needed. One thing that I'm going to flag is like girls on their periods, for example, they're probably going to want to deload that week, give their body a bit more time to sort of rest, recover. Clients feeling stressed. Yeah, I don't know, not something I really know a lot about or feel like I can talk on a lot.
Okay, cool. All right, we're just going to go quickly. Overrated, underrated, cold showers. What do you think? Just one word answers.
Overrated.
I reckon underrated.
Dean,
Overrated.
tempo's poor. I'm going to go overrated, but I'm going to sit more on the fence. Tempo's pauses, 1-on-1 quarter reps. I'm going to say underrated.
Oh my god.
Quick, first
you
thing that
say-
comes to your head. Let's go.
I say underrated.
Yep.
Yeah, it's overrated.
Yeah, I'll be the same.
Landing mechanics for jumping, underrated or overrated?
I'm in the middle.
Yeah, I'm in the middle as well. Time and place.
I'm going to go in the middle, but I'm going to lean towards underrated.
I'd be underrated. Yeah.
Joel Seedsman training to 90 degrees, overrated, underrated?
Oh, overrated.
Overrated.
He's over toes.
What's this?
Well, I don't know this guy, but I
Just
presume.
Joel Seedsman's a guy who on Instagram only trains to 90 degrees.
Dino doing box squats.
Yeah, he's out of the Dino's out of the Joel
He's in the
Seedsman
box
school of
squat.
kinetics.
No box squat.
Chasing limb symmetry, I think overrated.
Yeah, overrated.
Yeah, and it's something I'm cautious of with Cutelled,
Contextual.
Yes.
but
Don't feel
I still think I still truly believe that a big
This is quick. One word answers, Matt. Come on.
I reckon in the middle.
No. You pick one.
Okay, underrated.
Okay. Dino.
I'd say overrated, but depends on the situation. Like if I've got a client whose their dominant side is significantly weaker than their non-dominant, then that's something that's an issue.
One word.
One word. The Liver King. Overrated, underrated.
Underrated.
No, I used to sit on the underrated fence. Now he's a piece of shit. He's overrated. He's dog. He's dead.
The Liver King.
Liver King. Warm-ups. Overrated, underrated.
Underrated.
Overrated.
Overrated.
Yeah.
I'm an overrated warm-up fan.
Not a fan.
All right. You want to warm up doing a barbell back squat? Do the barbell back squat as your warm-up.
That's
Yeah.
well, if we're saying warm up, I count warm up sets as my warm up.
Box squatting.
Yeah.
Yep, last one. Tell us
All right.
what
Training to failure. Overrated or underrated? I reckon underrated.
everyone's scared to train hard.
No, underrated. Chels?
Dino.
I said underrated.
Dino?
I don't really like training to failure unless it's like running, but yeah, overrated for
No.
strength stuff.
All right. Well,
But incorrect technique for fat. Overrated. Wait, sorry.
that's good, Chels.
I'm just too caught up on
Alright.
this.
But guys, all right. So hopefully today, the end of it is we've had a discussion on a few topics. You are comfortable in expressing your opinions, right? So when team meetings, for example, come up, right? You guys feel comfortable in just saying what you're thinking.
I can't hear you.
Really? Good now or not?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. So.
Yeah, gotcha.
All right, so as I was saying, but the idea of today was to get you guys comfortable in expressing your opinions, having people disagree with you, having people that agree with you but might agree with you differently, whatever it might be. And hopefully in our team meetings, you guys feel confident and comfortable in just expressing what you're thinking. Because a good example is Chella talking about her admin time, right? And look at the discussion we had off it. Now, Chella, if you weren't to talk about that Cam would have been kicked down the road, right? So hopefully
Sunshine.
the topics could have been anything, but I hope you guys take away the fact that you are more than welcome to talk about your opinions
Yeah.
and whatever. Okay? I'm done. Anyway, I'm all done. Stop shit.
Yeah, and we've also just got. We're just going to share Insta content with all those questions. I might have to post them on our, underrated, overrated. Get our viewers to tell us what they think. Get some engagement going.
Charles
Yeah, brother.
exercise sessions. I remember.
Yeah, make sure you upload that to G Drive ads if you can.
That was
Yeah,
a
I'll
good
do.
one.
Good.
Super thought provoking. I actually loved that, and it's very outside of the box of what we would traditionally do in like some sort of, in our CPD. And I think that it has set the standard of what our CPD is going to look like this year.
Raising the bar, mate.
Raising the bar.
Raising
Yeah.
the bar.
All right, guys. Have a good
All right,
afternoon.
we got to run.
All right.
Mate.
I got to go
Take it
toilet.
easy.